Alright, in this video we're going to talk a little bit about rightly dividing the word of truth, 2 Timothy 2:15. What does it mean? Well, the word in Greek is orthotomeo, and it means to cut straight. To cut straight. Now I want to give you a couple examples. For instance, first let's go to 2 Timothy 2:15, and you read to verse 18. And it talks about Hymenaeus and Philetus said that the resurrection had already passed, and they made some error in the faith. What did they do? They put something in the wrong time period. So now the people thought that they were in the day of the Lord, God's wrath, because they thought they missed the resurrection. So they put something in the wrong place. And this does have to do with dispensations. A dispensation is a time period in which certain things are going to apply for that time period. Now, I'm not a dispensationalist because I don't want to be connected to dispensationalism like that, because I've been down that road, had that card, and I learned a few things from dispensationalism. But I also learned that there's a lot of things that I do not agree with in dispensationalism. But what I'm going to do right now is give you a couple examples of things that need to be rightly divided. So one thing that you hear from Christians is the misuse, let me say that again, the misuse of Matthew chapter 7. When there are people saying, Lord, Lord, have we not done all these good works for you? And he's going to say, depart from me, I never knew you. Well, first what you have to understand is that is not the 1 Corinthians chapter 3 judgment for saved Christians today. God is not going to rapture you up to heaven so he can cast you into outer darkness. You have to understand that. Neither is he going to rapture you up to heaven and then bring you back down to earth for that judgment in Matthew chapter 7 so that you can be cast out into outer darkness. It doesn't make any sense, does it? Well, of course not, because you have to rightly divide Matthew chapter 7 and Matthew chapter 25, which are combination together, and 1 Corinthians 3, which is another judgment in heaven. Okay, so when we look at Matthew chapter 25, you have people being cast into outer darkness. It's the parable of the talents. God leaves this one some talents and that one some talents. And basically, to make a long story short, Jesus comes back to earth. This is an earthly judgment. And he's disappointed with some, and they get cast into outer darkness. Okay? That is completely and totally separate from 1 Corinthians 3. If you read in 1 Corinthians 3, people's works are burnt up, but the person themselves are saved. Nobody is getting cast into outer darkness in 1 Corinthians 3. That judgment is in heaven. Remember, there's a judgment seat in heaven. There's a judgment seat on earth. On earth, as it is in heaven. Everything down here is a shadow of heavenly things. Remember the tabernacle that Moses built? It was a shadow of the tabernacle in heaven. That's it. Everything down here, I don't want to say mimics, but the word is shadows. And so this is what Christians don't understand. A lot of Christians don't understand about the Bible, is that you have to rightly divide some things. There are different judgments in different time periods. Then to skip forward in the book of Revelation, we have the great white throne judgment. Again, people are getting cast into the lake of fire at that judgment. And that is at the end of the 1,000-year millennium reign of Jesus Christ. So this is another judgment. But if you don't rightly divide and you put them all together like a lot of Christians do, you're going to think that the judgment for a Christian right now could be the great white throne judgment, and you're going to get cast into hell for something. You see, if you don't rightly divide, if you don't put everything in the right order, and that has to do with time. things in the right order have to do with a timeline and things at the right time. And if you don't do that, put it all together, then you get confusion, okay? And it creates fear. So again, I wanted to show you, compare for yourselves. Look in 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and go, why isn't anybody getting thrown into outer darkness or hell or the lake of fire here? Well, that's because that judgment is after the rapture in heaven, the judgment seat of Christ. Nobody gets thrown into hell or the lake of fire or outer darkness up there. He's not going to rapture you into heaven and where there is no darkness. He's not going to rapture you up there and then cast you into the lake of fire for a judgment. He's just going to burn up your works that were no good. So this is a little taste of rightly dividing the word of truth. Thank you.